him the longest-serving independent member of Congress in American history. Throughout his career, he has focused on the shrinking American middle class and the growing income and wealth gaps in the United States. Bernie did a tour of our training center in Houston with District Council 88 leadership, followed by a roundtable discussion. Our members brought out issues that they face in the job site and in their community. They talked about apprenticeship and other issues facing our members, including wage theft and the underground economy. Delegates of the convention, I welcome Senator Saunders to join us via satellite to tell you about his vision on IUPAT issues. Senator.
To say a few words to you, let me thank Kenneth McBaden and George Gallus and all 160,000 members of the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades for all of the great work you are doing now and have done throughout your history. As it turns out, I have a connection with the paint industry. My father was a paint salesman. That's what he did for a living. He went around Brooklyn, New York, and he went around Long Island selling paint. So I heard a whole lot about paint and painters when I was a kid. And I want to thank all of you for the great work you are doing. And I want to thank the union for being a leader in the struggle for economic and social justice and the right for all Americans, regardless of their income, to live with dignity and security. I don't have to tell anybody who knows that for the last 4 years, the middle class of this country has been in decline. And what we have seen is a massive attack against the working class, against the trade union movement, while at the same time there has been a massive transfer of wealth from working families to the top 1%. And what I am saying and what we are saying is enough is enough. We need an economy, we need a government that works for all of us and not just wealthy campaign contributors. You can believe it, we live in an era when the top 1% and large profitable corporations received over $1 trillion in tax breaks under Donald Trump. You got a situation where major corporations like Amazon, making billions in profit, do not pay 1 nickel in federal income tax, all the while that 500,000 Americans tonight will sleep out on the street and millions of people are paying 50% of their limited incomes for housing. Today in America, half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. And that means if their car breaks down and they can't get to work, they don't have any income. They don't have any income, they cannot feed their families. It means that if they get sick, they cannot afford to go to the doctor, and 30,000 Americans die every single year because they don't get to a doctor when they should. Today, the United States has more income and wealth inequality than any major country on earth. It is worse now in America than at any time since the 1920s. If you can believe it, and I know it is hard to believe, in America today we have three people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society. We have the top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 92%. And while painters and other workers all over this country are working 50, 60 hours a week to take care of their families, 49% of all new incomes are going to the top 1%. That is not the economy that we need. We don't need an economy that makes billionaires even richer. We need an economy that allows the working class of this country to enjoy a decent standard of living, and that's the economy with you that I will fight for. economy that works for working people. We need to do what every major country on earth does, and that is guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right, not a privilege. It is not acceptable to me that 87 million Americans are either uninsured or underinsured with high deductibles and high co-payments. It is not acceptable to me that union after union has to sit down and bargain a contract which forces them to pay more for health care and get less in the wages than they could. Not acceptable to me that all over this country, working class people are paying 15, 20, 25% of their incomes on health care, and that we as a nation are spending twice as much per person on health care as do the people of any other country. That has got to end. In my view, and more Americans are agreeing with me on this issue, we need to move to a Medicare for all single-payer system, guaranteeing health care to every man, woman, and child in this country, and saving the working people of this country substantial amounts of money on the cost of health care. That's where we got to go. And I'll tell you what else we've got to do. We've got to take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry that is ripping us off every single day, charging us by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Some of you may know, a few weeks ago I went up to Canada with some people from the Midwest who are diabetic and having to purchase insulin. We bought insulin in Canada for 1/10 of the price that is charged here in the United States, the exact same product, 1/10 of the price up there. So we got a message for the drug companies of this country. We are going to cut the price of medicine in this country at least in half. You're not going to make $69 billion in profits when 1 out of 5 Americans cannot afford the medicine they need. That is going to end. We all remember that Donald Trump campaigned all over this country as a great friend of the working class of America. He was a different type of Republican. He's going to stand up with workers. He told the American people that he would guarantee health care to everybody. Well, you don't guarantee health care to everybody when you try to throw 32 million Americans off the health care they have. You don't stand up for the working class when you have a tax plan that gives 83% of all benefits to the top 1% over a 10-year period. You don't stand up for the working class when your budget makes massive cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Trump is a pathological liar. He is a phony of the worst kind. Brothers and sisters, it is no secret to you that for the last 40 years, there has been a war against the working class of this country and the trade union movement led by corporate America. When Donald Trump appoints some of the most anti-union members that we have ever seen to the National Labor Relations Board, make no mistake about it, he is waging a war on workers. And here is a promise I make to you today. My appointees to the NLRB will be 100% pro-worker. They will stand with the workers. Billionaires like the Cook brothers, successfully lobbying for so-called right-to-work laws. They are waging a war on workers. When companies threaten to shut down factories and businesses in America, if their workers vote to form a union, they are waging a war on workers. When Donald Trump and his administration push to fund anti-union, industry-recognized apprenticeship programs that are bad for workers, bad for the public, and undermine the high-quality union apprenticeship programs in America, they are waging a war on workers. I want to congratulate your union, so many other unions, for the great apprenticeship programs you are now developing and working on. Your efforts have made it easier for working class young people, for high school kids, to get the training that they need to go out in the world and get the good paying jobs that are out there. Thank you very much for what you're doing. I had the honor and privilege of visiting one of your training facilities in Houston last month. You are doing great work, and under a Bernie Sanders administration, they will expand those programs and help you train even more young people to get into the professions that they should be getting into. We need job training in this country that focuses on long-term quality and safety, not on short-term profits and greed. Brothers and sisters, the reason why Trump and his billionaire friends are waging a war on the trade union movement is pretty obvious. In America today, union workers earn 22% more on average than non-union workers. In America today, 72% of union workers have a defined benefit pension plan that guarantees an income in retirement compared to just 14% of non-union workers. I am very proud to not only have a 100% lifetime AFL-CIO pro-union voting record, but even more so, I am so proud that over the years, I have been on picket line after picket line after picket line, standing with workers who are fighting for decent wages and decent working conditions. In my view, if we're going to rebuild the disappearing middle class, we need to rebuild the trade union movement in this country. In order to do that, I have introduced legislation in the Senate and will implement as president, which is the strongest pro-union legislation introduced in a very, very long time. It is called the Workplace Democracy Act. Let me tell you some of the features of it. Most importantly, what it says is that when a majority of workers in a bargaining unit sign a card to join a union, they will have a union. End of discussion. If an employer refuses to negotiate a first contract in good faith, we will impose strong penalties on those companies. It means making sure that companies are no longer able to exploit workers by misclassifying them as independent contractors or deny them overtime by falsely calling them a supervisor. Our legislation ends the disastrous right-to-work laws existing in 28 states by repealing Section 14B of the Taft-Hartley Act. And not only will we work with you to make it easier for workers to join unions, to grow the trade union movement, we will also work with you to end a corrupt campaign finance system that allows billionaires to buy elections. Now, I may be old-fashioned, but my understanding of democracy is one person, one vote, not billionaires spending hundreds of millions of dollars to elect candidates who represent the wealthy and the powerful. And together, we will overturn this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision. When we talk about justice in America and a corrupt political system, we are going to end a situation in which large profitable corporations like Amazon and many others make billions of dollars a year in profit and end up not paying one nickel in federal income tax. We're going to end that. We are going to develop a trade policy that works for workers and not just large multinational corporations. And if corporations think they're going to throw American workers out on the street, move to Mexico and China, and then get online for federal contracts, they got another guess coming to them. Ain't gonna happen. And all of you know, because you do this work every day, you know that the infrastructure in the United States of America is crumbling. That is our roads, our bridges, our railways, our water systems, our sewers, our airports, our schools. And you also know that we have a major crisis in affordable housing in this country. And when I talk about rebuilding our infrastructure, it means creating millions of good-paying jobs by building the millions of units of affordable housing that this country desperately needs. Very proud that over the last 4 years, we have made progress in raising the federal minimum wage from a starvation minimum wage of $15 an hour, a starvation wage of $7.25 an hour, to a living wage of $15 an hour. As president, that is the bill that I will sign. Nobody in America who works 40 hours a week should live in poverty. We need a living wage, at least $15 an hour, and the right of workers to form a union. Brothers and sisters, I grew up in a working class home in Brooklyn, New York. I lived in a rent-controlled apartment my entire life. Unlike Donald Trump, I did not receive $200,000 a year as a little kid in allowance. I received 25 cents a week. That's the allowance that I got. I know what it is like to live in a family that lives paycheck to paycheck. So today I am asking for your support to help me win the Democratic nomination. I'm asking for your support to help me defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country, but I'm asking something more. I am asking your help to help create an economy and a government that addresses the needs of working families, health care, education, child care, infrastructure, affordable housing, climate change. Those are the issues the American people are concerned about. So my promise to you is that if elected president, there will not have been a more pro-union president in the White House since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I will stand with workers, and together we will transform this country.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. I truly appreciate you taking time to address the convention today. Senator, I certainly appreciate you making time to address this convention today. I hope you continue to talk to our members on the campaign trail. Best wishes to you and good luck. Now we're going to get some